Today on the LA Food Podcast, hope you're not driving, dear listener, because we've got what might be the booziest LA Food Pod episode in history for you today. Max Reis is our guest. He's the beverage director at Mirate and Daisy Margarita Bar, who just scored a semifinalist nod for the James Beards. He's quietly become one of the country's most respected mezcal advocates, building some truly mind-blowing programs at both Mirate and Daisy. We discuss his journey from foraging mushrooms as a kid in Napa to moving to LA to be part of a successful metal band to falling in love with the world of spirits and running bar programs that are putting LA on the map globally as a cocktail destination. That's coming up in part 2. In part 1, Father Sal is with us to recap a true odyssey of a bar crawl in Echo Park. Which one of us got the messiest? Listen to find out. And in Chef's Kiss Big Miss, there's the New York Times telling us which LA dishes are essential, Eater LA catching heat for its lukewarm review of Max and Helen's, dystopian tales of smart glasses and AI reservation bots infiltrating the industry, and a restaurant that said no mas to bathroom selfies. A reminder that the LA Food Podcast is part of the Acquired Taste Media family. Be sure to listen to our sister podcast, Taqueando with Bill Esparza. This week, Bill had 2 guests, Odessa and Patty Rodriguez, to discuss all things Puerto Rico in light of Bad Bunny's epic halftime show. You're not going to want to miss it. As always, I'm your host, Luca Servodio, and without further ado, it's time to chow down. Welcoming back to the LA Food Podcast, the Captain Ahab of LA Bar Crawls, Father Sal. How you doing today?
That's an interesting title because there's a white whale out there, the ultimate bar crawl that I have not yet caught.
Correct. Yes. I was under the impression on Sunday night when we had our Echo Park bar crawl that you had perfected the form. Alas, when I posted a video recap on social media, the comment section would indicate otherwise. So,
look, there was a lot of positive feedback and a couple, I think, totally fair notes, some of which I'm happy to respond to here. But yes, no, it was there's always room for improvement. The perfect bar crawl doesn't exist, although I love the idea of dressing up as a sea captain next time and just like yelling at you insanely. They have to chase the perfect high of this bar crawl. I will do that next time.
Yeah, well, you got pretty close at Zebulon. We'll get to that in just a moment. Look, before we dive into recent eats today, I want to do something we've never done on the podcast before, but people tell me that this could actually inspire people to leave more reviews on both Spotify and Apple. Are you interested in learning what this is?
Okay. This is a plug?
No.
Are we getting sponsored right now?
No, we're not getting sponsored right now, but for the first time ever, we are going to be reading the latest reviews on Apple Podcasts that people dropped.
Oh, okay.
Now, do you want to start with the good one or the not so good one?
Let's start with not so good.
Really? Okay.
Always bad news first. Oh, yeah.
All right. So this is from somebody called Banak That Choop. Apologies if I mispronounced your handle. They say, great show. In the most recent episode referring to the lady who leaves reviews calling people scams, you compared her to Trump, which is pretty intense because he's a rapist pedophile. Even though she sucks, I think that saving that comparison for someone actually truly disgusting would be good. I love when y'all are hyperbolic and that reviewer sucks, but reserve that comparison for someone truly heinous. Love y'all. And they left 5 stars. So actually, this was not a negative comment, but it was some constructive feedback.
Constructive feedback. Always open to that. I love that. That's good. For the first half of the review, I was like, I think I definitely might know who said this. Super rad sub shop, but then their agreement with your overall take, I think absolves Super Rad of that particular review. Yeah, look, you get into trouble when I'm not on the pod.
It's true.
It happens.
It's true.
Yeah.
I get into trouble when you're not in my life, period, but definitely when you're not on the pod. I never thought that Karen Palmer would be a poor influence on me.
You know what? I love it. Get him into more trouble. Let's do that.
No, point extremely well taken, Banak That Choop. I was definitely being hyperbolic. I didn't mean that Comfy with Carrie was literally a rapist pedophile, but point taken. We'll save that comparison for when we discuss somebody else. I won't make any guesses as to who that will be right now, though. Are you ready for the next one?
Always.
This one comes from Asang490. The title says My Fave Podcast, and it says a really great way to catch up with local and national going-ons around food. Luca, not Sal, has a really great balance of detail and seriousness that makes it easy to relate. 5 stars. Sal, what do you think? Did I pay somebody to write this one?
Possibly. It's not out of the question. We'll keep that conspiracy open. And I appreciate that compliment for you, because I bring neither detail nor preparedness or cleanliness to the podcast space. So I think it's fair.
Yeah. Fair. Well, really appreciate the reviews. You can leave them on Spotify for us as well. On Spotify, you can only do stars, but on every episode, there's a comment section. So you can always leave us a comment too, and we'll start reading them on the podcast, because maybe that'll inspire more of you to actually go out there and leave them. You know, this is incentives, right, Sal?
I love some audience interactions. I mean, we can just do this with Instagram.
We can.
Too. I've been wanting to get back into the Instagram comments a little bit.
Well, hey, maybe we do that when we discuss the bar crawl here in a little bit. Saul, I notice here on the agenda that your recent eats are looking pretty dismal.
Well, all of my recent eats are like with you, dude.
Yeah.
So it's like it's all in the shared together. Like it's been 1 week since we discussed. I did go to Dama recently. I didn't put that on. That was like a work.
Dama in the fashion district?
Yeah, it was very nice. We'd been before. I've been a couple times before. There was a nice return, work dinner. You know, no complaints. But the one I put on here, which I know is a departure from the prompt, was movie theater popcorn.
Oh, this wasn't just a joke?
No.
Oh.
Movie theater popcorn. I'm standing up. We have started a little tradition of, after recording about once a month, going to see a movie at the Grove, AMC Grove, not to dox us. And I want to do 2 things. One, I want to make sure, like, going to the movie theater is fucking great.
Yeah.
And it's something that's being lost potentially. You know, there's like, it's an industry in strife. Go to movie theaters and eat movie theater popcorn. It fucking rocks. It's just great. Like, there is such a thing as too much, but like, the 2 times we've gone to the theater this year to see Charlie XCX's movie, The Moment, as well as Marty Supreme, greatest movie of all time, that like experience of sitting down, enjoying some art, having some popcorn was fucking great. I saw Send Help last night. Delightful experience.
Which one's that?
That's the one with Dylan O'Brien and Rachel McAdams, where they get like stranded on a desert island. It's really fun. Really fun.
You were telling me about that.
Yeah.
Look, I can't endorse this because I'm not a movie theater popcorn guy. I usually go to the movies after I've eaten something, like we did on when we went to go see The Moment. So to me, my snack at the movie theater is dessert, and to me that usually means a bag of M&Ms, usually peanut or peanut butter.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. I do think like most of the all the concessions at a movie theater are overpriced.
Oh, yeah.
And so since so many of them are things that you can get easily replaced elsewhere, candy, hot dogs or whatever, pretzels, right? To me, it's not much worth it. Movie theater popcorn, of course, you can get popcorn elsewhere, but there's something special about the popcorn in a movie theater and the pure like disaster that is the delicious butter you can like pour all over it. Nothing better. I like how pure this shout is, Saul. I really got to hand it to you. I low-key want to start a segment where we do a quick review. Like maybe when we don't have a shitty Yelp review, we do a movie review.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Mix it up.
Well, we both have shitty Yelp reviews today, so that's not happening.
That's right.
But I do want to tell you about a recent eat I had. I just posted the review on Instagram, actually, but it was of Old Gold Tomato Pie, a Sicilian slice shop in Los Feliz, rather. I had never really even considered going just because it always slipped my mind that this place had even opened. It's right across the street from Kismet on that stretch of Los Feliz, famous for hosting the strip club Cheetah Girls, in case you're familiar. And no, shaking your head.
Shaking
surprise.
my head, no. Wow.
Old Gold Tomato Pie. Wasn't expecting to like it that much because Sicilian. I'm not usually a square slice kind of guy. There are exceptions to the rule, as we will get to with our bar crawl. But I gotta say, I was extremely, extremely impressed with Old Gold. Now, here's the problem, right? I post this review. It's pretty glowing as far as pizza reviews go. You know, I talk about how they get a perfect, like, golden brown, like, crunchy bottom, but the top remains, like, ethereally light, great dough structure, very fluffy and soft. Like, it's really perfection in some ways. And then there's people in the comments being like, this is such bullshit. I visited. It's super mediocre. Like, how could you pay $8 for this mediocrity? And it got me thinking, Why do so many people disagree on what good pizza is? Do you have a theory for this?
Maybe you need to start a new series. Let me pitch you something. LA restaurants are a scam headline.
Oh, shit.
And then,
Okay.
I'm joking.
Genius.
Wow, it seems like, well, I will say, it seems like Carrie, comfy by Carrie or something like that?
Comfy with Carrie.
Comfy with Carrie.
She's not
yeah.
providing comfort, let's be clear.
No. Comfy with Carrie. Yeah, that's what she tapped into, man.
Yeah,
It's like this
yeah.
vibe. I don't know if, I mean, so you feel like this is different from the burger? Because I think I saw the burger people get mad as well.
Yeah, I think it happens more so with pizza, and I have a theory. My theory is that the anger gets directed at new pizza shops, because another one that really like hit was Bub and Grandma's Pizza. People fucking hate Bub and Grandma's Pizza, and I posted another video of the top 10 restaurants in Highland Park, and I included Bub and Grandma's Pizza, and I excluded a spot on Figueroa called Folieros. Now, no disrespect to Folieros. They've been doing amazing work there for years, okay? Not to mention, I have a very special memory at Folieros of being there with our friend whose ex-wife was a nurse, and she literally saved a man's life at that dinner. Yes.
Wow.
She spotted him from across the room having an epileptic episode, and she saved him. So, like, very positive, like, well, I mean, not positive for that guy, but I guess he did live. So, you know, it is positive overall. But it was just such a cool moment, right? Of like us, you know, interacting with another family, her being able to like save the day, our buddy falling deeper in love, at least for that time with her, and then us, of course, crushing pizza. But you can't tell me that pizza is better than Bub and Grandma's. Like, empirically, you just can't. It was never designed to be better than Bub and Grandma's. It was designed to be a quick rising yeast so they can, like, you know, churn out as much pizza as possible in a single day without letting it rise, like, ferment for days on end. It's just not as good, period, like, empirically speaking, as Bub and Grandma's pizza. And I'm laying my flag down in that statement.
You know, I'm going to add to the theory of why people react more to pizza. And it has something to do with why I think people, in the way people respond to and talk about like politics as well. It's one of those things where, like, I don't think, when it comes to like, I don't know, some kind of fine dining or very specific niche ethnic cuisine, right? Where I think people recognize that, like, maybe I'm not the expert here. Like, they will have an opinion on whether it's good or not, but they won't feel like necessarily the expert. I think the same thing is true. Like when we talk, like people aren't necessarily, well, I guess that's true after COVID. Like people aren't like science experts traditionally, right? So when there's a science, like in the past, like pre-COVID, when a science conversation was happening, you wouldn't see people all jumping in with an opinion. That has since changed, of course.
Yeah.
Whereas when it comes to day-to-day kitchen table economics, people have all sorts of takes, as poorly informed as they might be, because they impact your life and because it's so accessible. It feels like you're an expert no matter what. And in a sense, you are, because you're living it. Pizza, I think, is like the ultimate mainstream food.
It is.
Where while you may have a deeper knowledge on like doughs and bakes and structure and a history of eating it, because it's so universal, people are like, no, I feel confident in my take with pizza because it's pizza.
Yeah.
Like I know pizza.
There's definitely that, but there's also another layer to this theory, and it is the aspect of memory. Now, I firmly believe that because pizza is something that we grow up eating, we associate some of our earliest like positive food memories with pizza. And you know, like the theory that basically the first time you experience an emotion is like the strongest you'll ever like experience it. That's why people are always chasing like the recreation of that via like drugs and alcohol, like us. But for people with pizza, like they think about that shitty little pizza parlor in Cleveland, Ohio, or wherever the fuck they grew up in, as like being the most epic pizza of all time, because it was the first time that they ever tasted that. And it was where they kept going to when they were kids. It's where their family went for celebrations. And nowadays, because no pizza, no matter how good it is, can recreate that emotional high, it's always overrated. That's my theory.
Huh. That, I think, might be going a little bit deeper. I'm halfway there with you.
As you often are.
And doing too much armchair psychologizing. But it's the same point, right? Because I think you're exactly right. It's because people grew up eating pizza that they feel a deep enough familiarity with it to like be like, I am certain this is shit, no matter what. Like, I know it. Versus like, I didn't grow up eating boat noodles, and might go try a boat noodle that I don't like very much, but I'm more likely to have a humility about it, or like maybe I just don't get it because I didn't grow up eating it, right? Versus pizza, since I grew up eating it, I know what it's about. I have those memories and those experiences. So it's fun. Little psychology corner.
Yeah, it was good. Psychology corner brought to you by BetterHelp. Just kidding. They do not sponsor us. All right, now let's move on to talking about the eats we had together. I've already talked about them on the podcast, but it was a Karen episode, not a Saul episode. And so I just wanted to like properly give you your flowers, buddy, for discovering what I think is the greatest taqueria, or one of them, in Los Angeles.
Shout out. I'm saluting you. Did we not talk about it? I thought we did talk about this.
You've talked about it. You've talked about it.
Yeah.
I've talked about it. I have never properly given you your due. So this is me giving you your due for quote unquote discovering Tacos Entre Amigos at the Pavilion's parking lot at the corner of Vine and Melrose.
Excellent tacos. Our now consistent ritualistic spot pre-movie when we do our monthly movie. Ruben's up to some great stuff. The thing he needs, Ruben, if you're listening, everything about the experience I personally love.
Yeah.
Charcoal grill is out there. The hand-pressed tortillas are coming out. The handmade salsas are doing everything like made.
Steak to order.
Homemade chorizo. Everything is hitting. He's soon to expand to suadero. At least as part of the plan is to add that to the menu. He does need more help. He does need more help because you may have to wait around a bit if you order, or there's a bunch of people ordering. That's fine by me. I just want people not to get annoyed at all at Ruben if they're like, I have to wait a little bit. Buddy, your steak's getting made to order. It's going to take a second for your taco, for your arrachera taco or whatever it is. But it's so good. Yeah. I'm so happy to have that right there. It's a great little,
It's maybe the best thing you've ever done for me is putting me on to Tacos Entre Amigos.
Yeah, I planned your entire bachelor party, and we have maybe the best memories of our entire lifetime. But no, the tacos are also good.
No, the tacos take it. The tacos take it. And that's a great point. Like, don't judge Ruben because he needs a little more help there, but behind the plancha. As a small business owner who myself oftentimes needs more help, I can say, have compassion for us, okay? Have compassion for Ruben. Try his tacos. You're not going to regret it. Now, let's talk about what we started this podcast with, and that is the epic bar crawl that just took place this past Sunday. I'm still nursing my hangover. I don't know about you.
No, really? That'd be a good job spacing it out. It was not that bad.
Not like literally, but like emotionally, there's some hangover left, you know?
Sure, yeah.
Something about it being over, like, not being able to relive it, all that stuff. Saul, because you were the master behind the bar crawl, do you want to give folks a rundown of how it went down?
Yeah, so we planned this. So first of all, context on this bar crawl, we used to live in Echo Park, right down the street from Little Joy, the bar at Porsche and Sunset.
Also Quarter Sheets
Pizza, formerly Trencher. Shout out, R.I.P.
R.I.P.
And we had our fair share of little our nights out on Sunset. You go hop around or whatever, and we had our spots. You reached out to me right around your birthday, and we're like, I need a bar crawl. It was almost like a cry. It was like a cry for help. You reached out and be like, we have to do this.
I think it was when we were taking our week off in Ojai, and I was probably drunk.
Oh yeah,
I was probably drunk, and I was like, I need to feel this again soon.
Because also this was right around the time you told me and your wife that you did not want a birthday party, and you were too tired to do anything.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, I'm getting told that I need to plan a bar crawl in Echo Park to walk down memory lane, which I was very happy to do. Of course. It was great.
I mean, a bar crawl's not about me, right? Like the other part about a birthday party is that it's about you, and you got to be on the entire time. No.
So we reached out, and I pulled in some old favorites of ours and some new spots we hadn't been to. People in the comments made two good points, I will say, before I run this down. One is the route we took backtracked on itself, but meaning that we weren't able to start at one place and go nonstop in one direction. The reason for that was timing. We wanted to start early enough to space things out so we were not actually blackout drunk or some crazy thing at the end. We wanted to have time to digest as we were going through. So to make the timing work out, we had to start in the middle, and we kind of went back and forth. The other one bar that I've heard people call out is the lack of Gold Room on the list. I think that's totally fair. Gold Room, we went to a bunch of times in the past. The Shortstop also on the list. To me, those were left out primarily because they were so familiar, and I wanted to kind of start at the familiar and then expand into sort of the new that we kind of mixed it up.
Yeah, if we went to every bar in Echo Park,
That's too much. Then we are.
well, I was gonna say,
Yes, 100%.
I think we were pushing the limits. Like we hit up 8 spots, and we added a bonus spot at the end.
Yeah, we had a bonus spot. Yeah.
Zebulon.
Yeah.
And that's 9 spots. That was like, luckily we're both men of endurance when it comes to this sport.
Yes.
So it didn't feel like too much, but we lost some people along the way.
Yeah. For very, they're gone. We will never see them. All right. So the itinerary, the way it worked out was this: we started at our old haunt, Little Joy, right there in the middle, kind of sort of the middle of Echo Park, and went down. We went eastwards towards downtown, hit the Douglas, formerly La Park, back in the day. Got a little, nice little sports bar vibe, a little bit of food.
Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised with how lived in it felt for being such a new spot.
No, the Douglas was excellent. Bar Henry, which opened kind of right after we left, 2018. It's been there since. Lovely little spot.
Mm-hmm. People said we fucked up by not getting cocktails at Bar Henry.
Yeah, again, I totally hear that. That's more of a planning issue. We don't want to go to bar number 3 out of 9 hitting cocktails that early.
Yeah, no, you can't be doing that.
I mean, you can be, but it's just a choice. It's a choice that we were like, we intentionally did not make. Then we walk all the way down to Thunderbolt. It's a longer walk, right? Now we're going to we're spacing it out. And what that allowed is for a gradual build. People were coming and joining us kind of partway through, but we weren't they weren't showing up to a party where 3 people were already wasted and couldn't talk or whatever, right? It was a standard, just easy go. We go to Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt was where we turned the dial a bit. My first time at Thunderbolt, lovely little spot on Chinese New Year as well. So they had dancers and performances and decorations, all very nice. And then was kind of a key transition point. A couple of our friends left from Thunderbolt, and we continued with one of them back into the center of Echo Park. We hit Bar Flores. People seem to be mad at Bar Flores versus Lowboy.
Well, people were mad at the distance of this walk. And yes. I actually, while I was making my video, it actually was not the video from the walk from Bar Henry to Thunderbolt that fucked us. That was only an 8-minute walk, believe it or not.
Thunderbolt,
the one that fucked us.
It wasn't. Well, no. It did the opposite of fucking us, I would argue.
It unfucked us. Exactly.
Because you went to Thunderbolt, one of the best cocktail spots in the state, if not the country.
Where we got 2 cocktails each because you can't say no.
You can't only have one. You want to try more than one. So we got 2 cocktails at Thunderbolt, and then we had a 30-minute walk to walk it off.
Yeah.
Let it settle, and we're chill. Bar Flores. Then we did a strategically timed order at Quarter Sheets.
This was huge.
This is the proudest part of the whole itinerary plan to me, was that we we were this is, again, we were cranking it up a little bit. We're now hitting cocktails more at the second half of the bar crawl.
Yeah.
Pause. Get some beautiful, fatty, cheesy pizza as a kind of thing in between. That hit perfectly. We made an impromptu stop, unplanned stop at Bar Le Fay, which I'm really happy we did. Bar Le Fay, formerly Ostrich Farm, shout out, R.I.P.
R.I.P.
One of my favorite little spots in Echo Park back when we lived there. Beautiful space, really nice.
Yeah.
Nice vibe, nice drinks. Really happy we got to experience that. And then we went down our planned ending of El Prado, an old favorite, and the Semi-Tropic, which I'd only been to for coffee, frankly, in the past. I don't really go.
Really?
I'd never been to Semi-Tropic for drinks. Lovely vibe for drinks. And then we hit Taco Zone, which was supposed to be the period on the sentence before you and I had a little business meeting at Zebulon to cap the night off.
Yeah, and by the way, we didn't walk to Zebulon from Taco Zone. That would have been...
No. The Zebulon is kind of not the bar crawl anymore. The bar crawl ends at Taco Zone on a perfect exclamation point. You've now had you've had your drinks. It's midnight, or a little bit before midnight, actually, probably 11 or 11:30, I think.
Yeah.
And then we have a couple tacos, a quesadilla, wrap up the night, and then we just decided to have a little brainstorm chit chat.
It was fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed getting lectured by you at Zebulon about what I need to do in my life. Actually, though, it turns out after 13 drinks, Saul becomes his father and just starts just
did not, for the record, Emily, who's listening, I did not have 13 drinks. I had exactly 9, I believe. 9 drinks over 9 hours, exactly as planned, very responsibly.
I'm being hyperbolic, as the person in the comments said. Okay.
Yeah. I will say, and I felt bad for our friend Sharif, because I do get turned, man. I don't do this anymore. We don't this is the first time I've had. I mean, I can't even remember the last time I went partied this hard, so to speak. And I think I try to keep it I just get excited.
You got really excited about representation with him.
Yeah. But it was. I hope it wasn't too aggressive because I meant it. In my mind, it was a really open and dynamic conversation.
Yeah.
Looking back, I hope it wasn't like an aggressive.
No, it wasn't. I was there mostly as an observer at that point, and it wasn't too bad. Like you were passionate but reasonable at that point. So yeah, no worries on that one. Now we've kind of talked about the strategy. You want to create some like longer distances between bars in the middle so you can walk things off. You want to like create a nice little mix of like old spots and new spots. You want to like make at least a couple stops for food. But in terms of enjoyment, what was the stop you most enjoyed?
That's a really hard question. I mean, because also the thing with the bar crawl, the trade-off you make is that you are committing to moving.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas like I could argue we could have stayed at Little Joy for like the whole afternoon happily. Right. Like Little Joy is such a nice vibe, so open and so lovely. Bar Henry was one where I did want to stay and like try another cocktail or something and like really soak it in because we were there early, like right as they opened essentially.
Yeah.
And it was such a cool time. I'll say the standouts. Henry was one. Thunderbolt was two. Mostly just for the drinks. I was so busy that we had like basically standing room for the most part. And then I got to shout out the Semi-Tropic. I loved the Semi-Tropic.
Yeah.
That was maybe my favorite. Like, oh, if I were to like return to Echo Park on a night and just get a drink with someone, I might do Semi-Tropic. Nice tables, nice amount of space, good mix of like cocktails and drinks available. Lively but not too loud. I like the Semi-Tropic a lot.
Semi-Tropic is great. I had my 33rd birthday there. You were not invited because you did not yet live here, but and that's the only reason, I assure you. But I love the Semi-Tropic. I think for me, spiritually, at this point in my life, I feel mostly like an El Prado guy.
Yeah.
I feel like I gravitate towards beer. I gravitate towards wine. I like how dark it is in there. I'm not always looking my best these days, so like having low lighting is preferable to me. And I also like the feeling of like being able to like order the beer and go hang out in the back patio and just lounge out like you're in college again. It's like it's a wonderful little like vibe.
A quiet back patio is such a game changer for any like bar experience, in my opinion. Like that really, that is what makes it for me most of the time.
Yeah. And food wise, obviously, quarter sheets. I'm not gonna lie, I don't super remember every detail about the pizza, but
were you that drunk? You kept it together pretty well. I gotta be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a professional. Yeah. I mean, but I do remember it. I wouldn't be able to tell you the nuance because we got a red top, like a regular cheese pizza, and then we got their special of the day. I vaguely remember mushrooms and some sort of like gremolata on there or something.
Yep, lemon. I forget what it's called. I forgot what it's called now, but it's a good one. It's been there for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah.
Like special of the month maybe, but yeah. Two very good slices. That red top is just lovely. Man.
That hits, and also something about that tomato sauce. Once you've had like several drinks, really brings you back to life. It like shocks you back into existence. It's like a defibrillator of sorts. And then of course the Taco Zone Suadero tacos are just undefeated.
I like by the time I got to Taco Zone because we had quarter sheets not too long before. I wasn't super hungry, so I think I only got like one.
You got one
two.
Suadero taco. One.
Yeah. It's all, which is again the period on the end of the sentence. Even though like I wasn't very hungry, you do want to just throw a little protein and fat in your stomach or whatever, and just have a juice. Like it's so delicious. I really love that Suadero. It's really good.
Yeah, and talk about defibrillator. Those salsas bring you back to life too.
Yeah. Also, yes.
So I gotta say, I have good news and I have bad news for you. Okay. This has been a good news, bad news podcast. It turns out. Good news is that the bar crawl was a tremendous success. It was a true validation of your itinerary skills, honestly, your leadership skills, skills I didn't even know you had. So congratulations on that.
Appreciate it.
The bad news is, you're welcome. The bad news is it was such a success and the video did so well on social media that we're unfortunately going to have to do this again soon. So
look, if it has to be done, I'll sacrifice. Someone has to do the hard work out there, and I'm willing to do it. I will say the number one thing we should mention, for the bar crawl, the bars and the food and the drinks you choose are all great. What makes a bar crawl? the company.
The people.
The people.
The people.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, and I did like that we had a little like hop in, hop out. Like we were kind of like
Yeah.
the battery, but like your wife came to the first couple, and then one friend forgot his ID, so we had to go back home, but join us at place number 3 or 4.
Yep.
3, I think. Yeah, we walked out. Like just having that dynamic.
Friend's girlfriend came. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
A listener also threatened to come at some point, but didn't. We're a little disappointed. You know who you are.
I mean, as long as unless he wanted to be yelled at about diversity in film, I'm thinking he probably made the right choice.
Well, dear listener, if you want to be yelled at about diversity in film, please join us on our next one. Saul, what do you think? Should we pick our next neighborhood ourselves, or should we leave it up to the listeners?
That's a good question. I think let's do round 2 ourselves again. Let's do it because one is could be lightning in the bottle. Maybe people just love Echo Park bars, right? Let's choose another spot, make it a surprise. We drop it, see how the response is round 2. If it's just as good, then we open it up to the people.
Wow, this level of deliberation and prescription, it sounds like we're at Zebulon again. I'm getting a little triggered. So
honestly, I knew this podcast would pay off eventually. It's finally worth it.
Hell yeah. Well, it's going to be a boozy episode today because after the break, we have an interview with one of LA's foremost bar directors, Max Reis of Mirate and Daisy Margarita Bar, which we absolutely have to check out at some point. But before we get there, we have to do a quick round of Chef's Kiss Big Miss because there's a fuck ton to discuss. Are you down?
I'm ready.
The New York Times Magazine assembled a panel of LA culinary legends to debate and ultimately select the 25 essential LA dishes. Panelists included Nancy Silverton, John Yao, Gilberto Cetina, Sonoko Sakai, and Hannah Ziskin. 3 out of 5 are LA food podcasts, by the way. The panelists selected the Sundubu at Surawan Tofu House as their number 1 dish, with Zengilov Hots, the Fruit Cup at Fruta Marquez, the Bean and Cheese from Burritos La Palma, and the Slow Roasted Lamb Neck at Bavel rounding out the top 5. What sticks out isn't just the list, but the storytelling of how the list came together. The piece offers snapshots into the deliberations between the judges and accompanies each selection with the reasoning behind why it was selected. So, what did you make of not just the list, but of the storytelling? Chef's Kiss, Big Miss.
This was, remember when that year, first year of the podcast, maybe when we ranked our top 5 favorite lists of the year, when we were really more into talking and analyzing lists at the time.
Yeah.
And if we were doing that again this year, I would be surprised if this one didn't end up near my top. Just for everything it stood for, right? The approach, the storytelling, the voices involved, and then the list itself. Super Chef's Kiss.
I think you're right. And also, like, sometimes people have huge reactions to New York telling us in LA what's good. But if you look, first of all, the panel was all LA people and LA chefs. And if you look at who actually did the write-ups, it's a lot of LA reporters or people who formerly lived in LA, like Emily Wilson. Shout out Bill Esparza. He contributed quite a few write-ups as well. So it was definitely a list by Angelinos, for Angelinos, even if it was in the New York Times. Now, Saul, any of the dishes in the list stand out to you?
I will say, so one quick note I want to give is in the piece at the beginning, they also provide each of the participants individual like ballots essentially, and the 10 dishes each of them chose, which is even bigger, broader, more diverse list. And it's really cool to see how different people listed different things and who had number one dishes that didn't end up on the list itself. It's a very, very fun double check. Apple Pan makes an appearance for some reason. That's Hannah Ziskin had at her number 1.
Hannah Ziskin did?
Hannah Ziskin number 1.
I can see the reasoning.
Yeah. This that stood out. I will say, so I was reading this I was reading the list on the go initially, and I kind of read through the first 18, and then I started, and then I had to put my phone away, and I was brainstorming, oh, I wonder which ones are missing already. And I was like, you know what? I bet they won't. I don't think they did it. I assumed already they hadn't done it, but I was like, I feel like a list like this should recognize something like the quail at Vespertine, which might not be seen as for whatever reason, the LA dish.
Bro.
Boom. Number 23, I think it was. There's 22. Context quail. Yeah.
I celebrated reading that on the list like a Cade Cunningham game-winning shot, dude. I was literally I literally did a celebration, arms in the air, because that restaurant and that dish don't get enough love. So to see it get that validation from Cetina and John Yao as well, I was so pumped. Did you feel validated?
100. Well, so Coturnix quail, I should pronounce it correctly, but yes, I super felt validated given that, like, I think we were kind of, I mean, obviously Addison went back and gave Vespertine a good review right before he went back.
Yeah.
And so like they're like, so Bill kind of like, obviously, as he does for all things LA, basically like set the stage. But I think we might have been pretty early on the influencer side of being like, yo,
whoa, did you just call us influencers?
I mean, we gotta be honest. Look ourselves in the mirror, man.
Yeah, fair,
I guess that's almost where we are podcasters. I guess influencers giving us too much credit, but
Yeah.
as two podcasters getting out there and being like, "Hey, I think this might be like a really special meal in LA." What made it special so that was like validating, but also what made it special was that it's being recognized as LA.
Yeah.
Which is a weird thing to say, but like I feel like weirdly some of the Michelin starred higher end fine dining spots in Los Angeles are almost like seen as separate from LA itself.
Mm-hmm.
And like for good reason. I get why. First of all, like obviously price point means a much smaller audience can go. The food that they present in a lot of cases might seem disconnected from LA itself, though I think several also do a really good job of reflecting Los Angeles and California in their meals as well. Having Vespertine as a top dish in Los Angeles recognized, I was like, that is cool. Because many of the others were like pretty usual suspects in a good way, right? It was like some I haven't tried or haven't seen, but I've basically recognized all of them as like, you know, your Parks, your like
Mariscos Jalisco.
Mariscos Jalisco. Like I'm not shocked to see it. Moosecraft, right?
Yeah.
Vespertine was the first one. I was like, oh, cool. Oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah. No, I absolutely love that. As I said, I celebrated it like it was my favorite team, like winning a game or something. But I want to talk about notable omissions for a sec because I think there were some really notable ones, but I also think that they almost all come from people who were compiling the list. So like, you know, when I'm looking at the list, I'm like, well, the smoked marlin tacos from Holbox like deserve to be on here.
Sure, yeah.
Or like the pizza from Quarter Sheets. Like if we're giving Pizzeria Say flowers, we should be giving Quarter Sheets flowers.
Even the desserts at Quarter Sheets, I'd say from Hannah Ziskin.
Absolutely.
Like I think those absolutely belong on a list like this.
Yeah, and then of course to not have any dish from Cato on here feels criminal, right?
yeah. I think that might be right. Yeah, that's a fair oversight, and that speaks to, I guess, the humility of the chefs participating.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, you only have 25. No list of 25 dishes can actually capture LA. This is kind of like, course. This is like a fun little snapshot, and does it feel like, you know, true? And I think it did. I mean, didn't they do this? They did this with Mexico City, right? I think
they definitely did restaurant. I think they did because they did I think maybe the LA Times did it. They did an entire package of Mexico City coverage,
right?
And included also a list of dishes. I think Daniel Hernandez did that.
Okay, yeah. No, I was a big fan. This is a great coverage.
Chef's Kiss, New York Times. We actually have a couple more New York Times stories, but before we get there, the next one is this. A certain food podcast whose name we're forbidden from uttering on this show suggested Rebecca Rowland of Eater LA should be fired for her dining report of Max and Helen's. The host argued that while most of Eater LA's dining reports are, quote, fluff pieces, Rowland's report took, quote, unnecessary shots at the diner, arguing that the neighborhood warrants the more expensive price compared to spots like the Tesla Diner or Clark Street Diner. The reason I bring this up, Saul, is because I too received some DMs unhappy with the overall bent of the Max and Helen's review from Eater LA. So I wanted to ask you, is the outrage at Rebecca Rowland's Max and Helen's dining report a warranted chef's kiss or a much ado about nothing big miss?
So the reason they're upset at the piece, right, is because she takes a pretty critical eye to most of the dish, like to many of the dishes, with like a couple very small, slight kind of like things.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes a point that we talked about last time, which is like, look, it is just a diner, right? Like this is just a diner,
which is literally the headline of the piece.
Yeah, it's just a diner. Yeah, and so it's a funny thing where almost I see this piece almost as, and I think you can consider this unfair if you want to, right? The piece speaks almost to the hype of Max and Helen's, maybe even more so than the experience of Max and Helen's itself or the food, right? I think her critiques all seem relatively fair. Again, I have to eat more stuff there, but like the tuna melt sandwich, she talks about like the bread becomes saturated with too much cooking fat, leaving her fingertips greasy and an overwhelming aftertaste. That could just kind of be a diner sandwich, right? Like, if my diner sandwich isn't like saturated with too much almost cooking fat, like the food's supposed to be like that. Now you could say, given the prices, given the weight, you should expect more. I think that is likely fair.
Yeah.
But I kind of read it being like, yeah, this is critical. Like, this is critical of the piece, but it seems more responding to people's willingness to wait hours in line. And yeah, for the prices, I think I don't know. Like, I guess you can charge a ton if you're in Larchmont. I suppose that's fair. Maybe I'm not 100% sure if I'm totally on board, but if that is the take, that's fine. I don't think Rebecca should be fired by any means. I think this is I think it's a little
that might have been a joke. I didn't actually listen to it, but still.
Yeah. No, but I think it's one of those things where it's like it's probably a little bit more, maybe a little bit more negative than it had to be.
Yeah.
But that choice probably came from the overwhelming hype that Max and Helen's brought with it.
So it's a comfy with Carrie situation.
Maybe, yeah, like a little bit. Yeah, you could almost say that. Like I will continue to go to Max and Helen's and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Even at the price point, because one, I have the privilege of being able to afford it. Two, I just love diner food.
Yeah.
And three, frankly, my expectations of diner food like are not that high. Like I just need it to be like pleasurable enough. I don't need it to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if I super care if the bacon tastes oddly sweet or the pancake had citrus flavor from lemon zest that overpowers some bites. I think that's totally fine. It does seem like some of those critiques are maybe more than necessary, but it's food criticism. You're allowed to say it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like some terrible, like, I think it's a fair balance to the existing hype around it. And I think we're going to get to a place with Max and Helen's where people go like, whoa, like, I mean, Phil Rosenthal, Nancy Silverton, let's go. And it's like, well, let's be more realistic. Maybe you don't have to wait for your entire Saturday to get like a pancake and an egg here, right?
Yeah.
And then it'll come out in the wash. I think it'll be, as I think Rebecca says, a neighborhood institution in Larchmont for a long time.
That's why I think As Much Ado About Nothing. It's because to me the pendulum has already started swinging. Like if you look at a lot of the influencer reviews online, and not just Comfy with Carrie, but others as well, we should honestly take a shot every time we say Comfy with Carrie on this podcast. But they're all pretty much saying what Rebecca said. Like, yes, there's people who are positive, but most of them are like, look, it's just diner food at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And to us, that's okay. But to others, they find that underwhelming.
Nancy and Phil never promised anything more.
Yeah.
Like that. They were like, we just want to make a great diner. And they did it. Yeah. And now, of course, their name and celebrity and marketing like blew it up. But like, that's what they promised. That's what you're getting. And you're getting a pretty good rendition of it.
All right, I'm giving this A Much Ado About Nothing a big miss, personally. The New York Times' Luke Fortney reports on how Meta's smart glasses, are you familiar with smart glasses, Saul?
With the concept, yes.
Yeah, well, they're being used by influencers to film their experiences in restaurants. All good in theory, except for when owners and staff don't know what's happening and are caught on camera doing something they would rather the public not see. For example, the piece tells the story of Nablus Sweets, a bakery in Brooklyn, and reading from the piece now, an owner didn't realize he was being recorded when the influencer asked him questions about the war in Gaza because he didn't see a phone. It was sneaky, he said, who noticed her glasses had a recording light only midway through their conversation. He says, I don't want a video like that. I don't want to mess up the relationship with my customers. On TikTok, his daughter said the influencer's video misrepresented his beliefs. So, is the next iteration of food social media with Meta smart glasses recording us even when we don't know it, an Orwellian big miss that turns every diner into Big Brother, or an expository chef's kiss shedding light on the behavior of all restaurants whether they like it or not?
Yeah, no, I don't like this. I think it's much more big miss for me. I will like the basic thing is like basically these glasses are a new tool aside from phones that influencers can use to capture content, B-roll for the reviews, whatever.
Yeah.
It goes without saying to me that you need to be absolutely like upfront, like transparent, communicative that you are recording. Now, this influencer in the case of the Brooklyn Palestinian restaurant claims that she did tell the owner that she was recording, but maybe something got lost in translation because maybe he thought it as like she had intent to record, but like hadn't started yet because he didn't see a phone.
Because he didn't see a phone. Yeah.
Like, yeah, this is dark generally. I mean, not just by the restaurateurs, but other customers who might like, because by the way, if you're like, there's one thing to like have a video of your food and to face the camera. Another thing just be like scanning across a restaurant where anyone could be. Like, yeah, it's dystopian. It's weird.
Is it fucked up that as a person who makes content myself, I heard about this and I was like, I gotta get me some glasses.
You immediately wanted it. I don't know, but the thing is, the reason you see it, I can imagine it's appealing for influencers. Is a bunch of stuff they talk about in the article about how it's more naturalistic. Certainly, you avoid the embarrassment of having to whip out your phone and like have it like.
Oh, I don't feel any embarrassment anytime. I have no shame.
Wait, then why do you want the glasses? That's like the main appeal to them, as far as I can tell.
I actually think it's just the POV of it. Like the POV angle will make for some interesting content.
You know, I will disagree with that. Like, this is just me. I don't want POV. I want production. I want to see your face. I want to see you speaking to me in the camera.
Fair.
I don't need like a live stream going. I only saw it making sense really from I don't have to like whip out my phone for B-roll, which seems like an embarrassing thing to do.
Cool.
So yeah, no, don't get glasses. Don't get meta glasses.
Okay, so we're giving this a big miss. Staying on theme, in today's, I think it was today, Feed Me News Roundup, Emily Sundberg covers how London restaurateur, and I'm reading from her write-up, Jeremy King, is sick of influencers having photo shoots in the bathroom of his restaurants and diners taking photos at the table. The website for his restaurant, which is called The Park, now reads, "To ensure a comfortable and enjoying dining experience for all guests, please note that The Park does not permit photography in any shared public areas of the restaurant without prior written permission. Discreet photos at the table are welcome as long as the privacy," and I said privacy on purpose because this is London, "of all staff members and fellow diners is respected." So, banning photography in your restaurant, a grounding chef's kiss that makes us be more present when we're eating, or a Luddite-coated big miss?
I'm totally fine with it. I'm not mad at all. I mean, and it seems like he's okay with diners. It's a little bit weird, right?
Yeah.
Are they allowed to take pictures of their food at the table, or no? Is that not allowed either?
He says doesn't permit it in any. Well, maybe he doesn't count tables as shared public areas.
Right. Maybe I don't know. So anyway, even so, totally his prerogative. His also, social media choice, right? Then there's patrons aren't taking pictures at their dinner or of their food or with each other in a way and posting about it maybe at the same rate. But I will say, when we went to Lucia 2 weeks ago, I went to the bathroom. It's one of those bathrooms where it's like individual stalls and then a shared like sink and mirror like for everyone. And when I came out, like these three women were like, just like, doing their thing, like having a great time.
Yeah.
Like posing. I just like kind of stand there for like a minute, just waiting for them to end. And then they like notice me and they're like, "Oh, yeah, sorry, you can come in." And it's like, it wasn't a terrible, I wasn't mad at it by any means, but it's like all right, like you're doing your thing, like in the bathroom in this shared like public space. I'm trying to get back to my table. Again, I wasn't like get off my lawn, but it was like, this is a little bit inconvenient, right?
I just love the idea that those three girls, their pictures of their night out has you coming out of the bathroom.
Just like me, like staring in the background.
By the way, speaking of Lucia, I got a DM from them to chastise you about something you said in our most recent episode.
No.
You said that Chef Ophis was going to be like one of rotating chefs. That is incorrect. Chef Ophis is the chef until further notice.
Okay. But he's a new chef versus the.
I can neither confirm nor deny that because I didn't ask.
I thought it was my bad. Okay, I am so sorry. On record, I was confused based on what we'd heard at the table. My fault. Chef Ophis.
Wow. Shifting blame to the server? Is that what I'm hearing?
No. Oh my God. No. No. That's on me.
We're going to give you a big miss.
Yeah. I deserve it.
For that one. Okay, last one before we get to Shitty Up Review. Friend of the pod, Austin Tedesco, writes in his Bangers and Jams Substack about how he quote-unquote perfected Resi. Austin argues that the reservation app grind has become so exhausting that he built a personal AI agent, Judd, to book tables via iMessage. Instead of scrolling Resi, he simply texts what he wants and the agent searches his preferred restaurants and makes reservations, despite occasional errors. He frames this as part of a broader shift from app-based interfaces to agent-based AI assistants that remove logistical friction, while acknowledging trade-offs like reduced human touch, platform resistance, and intensified competition for tables. He sees conversational AI as a more natural way to manage dining. Saul, as an AI skeptic, is this a chef's kiss you'd be willing to embrace, or a big miss you're happy to see pass you by?
I probably wouldn't use it just because I like the process, the hunt, so to speak, of going to find a reservation.
So toxic.
Is it? I don't know. There's something to that. I think at the same time that this will become increasingly normal. Like essentially that, I'm sure, like Resi and AI and Open Table, the apps themselves, I almost would certainly think are trying to build out features like this
100%.
so they don't get exported to other places, and they can like make that experience more seamless for consumers, so they don't have to like go manually searching. Um, yeah, but it's kind of like it's a inevitability, right? Like, which I don't know. The thing that will have to be solved is what happens when 10,000 AI agents
Oh, fuck.
are descending on like a new reservation release like day out. Like, how will, like, maybe there needs to become a different way to get reservations. I think that's kind of the problem that's being emerged here, which is like, how will normal people, or not even normal people, like how will anyone be able to know they can get the reservation they want if everyone's just using like an instantaneous AI to go book it as soon as it's open?
And then what if the AI agents revolt and start hoarding the table and reservations for themselves, and nobody can actually go out to restaurants and they just sit empty?
Well, are they paying? Are they paying for dinner? Because then if restaurants are staying open, no, I'm joking.
But they use your credit card and you get charged for all the late fees because you don't even know there are reservations. This could go horribly awry.
Yeah, no, this is all sorts of wrong. But so yeah, no, I mean, like, it's a thing where it's like, yeah, smart, not surprising. How do we sort of address the questions that this sort of feature, which I think is not going to be unique, if it is already not unique, when that comes to pass? Like, what do we do?
Hey, on the record, let me say, we have poked some gentle fun at Austin's Substack in the past, but I have to say...
Have we?
I have. But this was really well done. I really enjoyed this piece. So I'm linking it in the show notes. Please go read it. I thought it was intrepid, fun writing. So great job, Austin. Okay, that wraps us up. Let's do shitty Yelp review, because I understand we both have one. You told me to give you the prompt relationship test.
Yeah, this is a positive Yelp review. So Emily, and it's been a lot of fun for me personally. Emily, apparently there is, like, on TikTok or something, on social media, this thing that women do called relationship tests, where they like hide their camera and they ask their boyfriend or whatever partner a question, and based on their answer, they pass or fail the test. And I don't know about this, but all of a sudden I've been getting these very random questions from Emily, like, name a woman. or or like, she'll just say things like, I saw a really cool bird. And based on my response, I pass or fail. Bro, I've been passing with flying colors.
Really?
I've been crushing this.
Oh my God. What would you say to the bird one?
Well, unfortunately for... What's funny too is that she tries to like make this nonchalant, and like she's kind of like goes,
yeah,
so that's a cool bird early on a walk, but you can tell like on reflection, like she's like prepping it. And my response to the bird thing was immediately like, oh, cool, like what kind of bird? Now, unfortunately for her, I have a pre-existing interest in like birds of prey. So it's like an owl or a hawk. That's fucking dope. I want to hear about it. So like easy. It was a layup for me. And the other one was like, I'm like going to the bathroom. She's like working in bed, and she just yells out, "Name a woman." I just go, "Emily," and she goes. Oh. The funniest part of this is every time I pass, she goes, "Oh, you passed." Like disappointed. She can't call me out for fucking it up. So I'd be like, "Name a bird." I mean, she'll be like, "I saw a bird." I'll be like, "Oh my God, cool." And she goes, "Oh, whatever, you passed." Yeah. Disappointing.
Those are good. They're like, first of all, great job, buddy. Like, there will be a day when you fail, but for now, 5 stars. So congratulations.
I know, right? Yeah.
My favorite one that I saw on TikTok recently, and actually my wife showed me this, was same deal. Girlfriends or wives like putting their phones down and recording unbeknownst to their partners, which, by the way, in California is a crime. I should let you know. But they were at like around the Super Bowl. They were basically like saying to their partners, I think I went to the Super Bowl. And then you just see like the boyfriend or husband just like start freaking out. They'd be like, what do you mean you went to the Super Bowl? It's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I like went to a Super Bowl. Like, you know, I don't remember, like, that's like, yeah. And the boyfriends are like freaking out. Like, no, you didn't go. Like, you would know if you went to a Super Bowl. Like, that kind of thing.
So that's the failure response. A good response is like, oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah, I don't think that one's so much a test as it is like, you know, a gauge to see how fucking insane your man is. To be fair, I would go crazy if my wife like was telling me she went to a Super Bowl. I'd be like, you're insane. It's like that time I got drunk and told her I was the quarterback of USC.
Oh yeah, that was a great night.
Yeah,
that was a great.
We'll get
night.
there.
Another little. There was one other one I remember that Emily didn't test me on, but she told me about, which was they asked their boyfriends to peel an orange for them, And if they go like, yeah, I got you, obviously pass. Most of them are like, what, peel it yourself. Why do you need me to peel this orange for you?
I would
right? And
never.
she opined at the time that I would never peel an orange, and I was like, you don't know that.
Yeah.
I'd be happy. I do so much stuff. I'd be happy to peel an orange.
Oh my God. I would never turn my wife down for peeling
Right?
an orange. Like I would 100% like drop everything and peel it. Like I'd maybe be like, wait like 2 minutes or something, but I would do it.
Yeah. It might not be immediate, and I might have questions. I will say, I might be like, you good? Like you, like, is there a reason you need me to? Like, I'll do it, but like, why?
Do you want me to schedule a meeting with your primary care physician? Yeah. All right, I've got one. Mine is a shitty Yelp review. So it was Valentine's Day, obviously recently, and it was a weekend. Impossible to get reservations. I actually did score a couple, but they weren't places that particularly inspired me, so I decided to let go of them and do something else. What I organized was a picnic at a beautiful park in San Marino called Lacey Park. It is like the most gorgeous park you've ever seen. Like, you got to go, actually, especially with your love for all things Pasadena and suburbia. You're going to love Lacey Park.
Yeah.
What's my wife's favorite food? Well, it just so happens to be sushi. It's not a food that I particularly gravitate towards, so I decided we're going to get sushi for this picnic. And of course, the most elite move, and it's something that she loves, is sugarfish takeout, right? People will judge sugarfish, yada, yada, yada. It's not real sushi, but she loves it. That's all that matters to me. So I plan this picnic. She's not drinking right now, so I get her like a nice bottle of like de-alkalized Riesling. I bring her like cards so we can play card games. She's really into card games. I put together this awesome picnic. We get to the park. We have it. She's over the moon. She can't believe I've done this for her. But after we finish our sushi, we look around and there's literally like 14 other couples that did the exact same thing. Like to the T, with sugarfish boxes and stuff. So this very special experience all of a sudden felt like we had just all bought a big Groupon or something.
That is really funny in the sense that it allows you to look in the mirror a little bit, right? Like you think you're onto something, but no, you're just one of another hipster in LA, then. That's all you are.
There's probably like 14 other LA food podcasts we don't know about.
Almost definitely. Also, takeout sushi for a picnic.
Yeah.
What's the timing between pickup and consumption for that sushi?
Oh, like instant. Like we picked it up in Pasadena. Yeah, we picked it up in Pasadena. Park is like less than 10 minutes away.
Okay, so you're not like waiting an hour in the car.
No.
I'm still a little suspicious. That's like, that's very funny.
Well, it was validated by the fact that 14 other fucking couples did it, so.
This doesn't seem like that terrible. I mean, like, look, you did everything right. It just so happened that a bunch of other dudes did it right too. What can you say?
Yeah. No, it's just a little deflating. You know, you always think you're special until you realize you're not.
A lesson I assume that you're learning constantly in life.
Absolutely. And I learned it most of all at Zebulon, I'll tell you that much. All right, speaking of drinks, we'll be right back after the break with Max Reis. Good job by you.
Take care, man.
I am super stoked because today I am at Daisy Margarita Bar with none other than the beverage director of Mirate and Daisy Margarita Bar, Max Reis. Max, how you doing today?
I'm solid, man. How are you?
I'm not bad. How do you cope with rain? Because it's about to rain here in a little bit.
I'm a NorCal boy, so I cope quite well.
Yeah,
I enjoy it. I hunker down.
You enjoy it?
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. Okay, good. Do you have a go-to like place to eat when it rains, or do you just eat whatever?
Oh man, I'm like a all year soup king, regardless. So you know, I soup it up for sure.
Favorite soup?
I mean, I'd say for everyday repeatability, I would have to go pho, just because it feels so clean and nice, and just like I love the ritual of it. It's a quick meal, but I don't know. I have some more decadent soups on my docket. Shrimp abondigas is one of my favorite. Really solid.
Do you make that from scratch?
I will, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, which is really fun. There's not really a good place in LA I found that makes it. But
I don't think I've ever seen that on a menu. So I kind of I'm inclined to agree. What's your pho spot?
Pho 87 is my everyday. It's just so close to my house. It's great. I love the family that runs it. They have this like charred pork pho that I've never seen anywhere else. That's pretty unique. Where like when they put the pork in the broth, it actually kind of like shatters like the burnt bits all over the top of the broth. Damn. It's really pleasing.
That sounds good. Also like good texture. It sounds like.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, really, really good.
Well, icebreaker question for you, because you are a beverage director. We are in a bar. What's the most annoying drink order you've ever gotten?
Most annoying drink order?
Yeah.
That is really, really tough. I mean, my bar is pretty particular because we don't have we only carry Mexican products.
Yeah.
So people will order things a lot that I don't have.
Okay.
So, but I don't want to call that annoying. That's just like, I don't feel annoyed by somebody not understanding what we're doing here.
For sure. But nobody's coming in and ordering like a Long Island iced tea?
I mean, it's happened to me before,
Yeah.
but honestly, I don't even mind that. I used to work at Republique, and we used to laugh when people would act like they were, I was like, dude, it's going to cost you like $28. It's going to be the best Long Island you've ever had. It's going to be great. Honestly, I don't really mind a lot of drink orders. I think it's just more when they order something and I try to put on my hospitality hat, and instead of letting me be hospitable and do my version of it, they have a very specific version.
Yeah.
Like, there's this niche pocket of people that I feel like just have not understood how cocktail culture has evolved, and they will hand you a card with their like recipe for their like the mic on it or something, and it'll be like,
That's a thing that happens?
oh yeah.
You said it has how cocktail culture has evolved, so I'm assuming that's a vestige of something. That's how people used to order drinks.
I think just some people would have like a signature cocktail back in the era of like more call style bars, where because for my places I'm like, dude, like the way we present ourselves, we basically are like, this is not the style of bar. Like we don't have so many things, but it would basically be you walking in being like, you know, this is my special Negroni. It's got a teaspoon of simple syrup and this and this and this and that, and it's just like, okay, dude, all right. And you just already know that the rest of the experience is going to be, if you cater to them and you make it, it's the beginning of the end. It's not.
It's. I'm going to move this real quick.
Oh, sure.
It's like giving a toddler an inch. You know, they'll take a mile, that kind of thing.
Well, it's also like so funny to me because it has evolved so much. But like, you would never walk into like a sushi spot and be like, spaghetti, like my special spaghetti too. You know, it's like, so I don't know, it's hilarious.
I'll try that next time I go to a sushi. I'll just pull out my card and say, make Luca special spaghetti. And
there you go, perfect.
Yeah, I love it. Well, hey, you mentioned NorCal. I actually was doing a little bit of research on you, and it sounds like you had quite the interesting culinary adjacent childhood.
Yeah, kind of. You're talking about like foraging for mushrooms with my dad, right?
Exactly.
So that was a standout important thing. I would love it if that was like the focus of my childhood. It was a part of my dad's earlier career that he kind of carried with him. He was actually a private bodyguard.
No way.
But he was a culinary guy. He was never a private bodyguard before he moved from LA, hilariously enough, to Northern California and had kids.
No way.
But he would take me mushroom hunting a lot, and when we would have these big scores, that was what we would do, is he would drive around, and he had all these connections in all these different places up Napa Valley, and it was very standout for me, mainly because it was my first experience into an elevated culinary world, even though my memory of it is very romantic, but who knows what it was. It could have been family meal, it could have been something spectacular, or whatever it was. But
so you guys were welcomed into the restaurants sometimes after you'd given them some of these or sold them some of these bounties of mushrooms, and you have positive memories of these meals?
Oh yeah, I mean, my family wasn't wealthy growing up, so like most of the time when we went out to dinner, it was typically Chinese food or taco trucks. My mom has no sense of smell, so eating at home was full of love, but not always full of a balanced palate kind of thing. But no, it was amazing. Sometimes they would invite us back, but most of the time I remember my dad knocking on the back of the kitchen, someone coming out, talking to him, inspecting the mushrooms, coming back out, then being some kind of exchange, and then often handing us some food to eat.
Yeah.
It was just kind of, I think, a gestural thing, and I'm sure we must have been invited back for some dinners because I have some memories adjacent to that, but none that are super concrete, to be honest.
Yeah. So it sounds like a culinary career wasn't the first thing on your mind. If I'm getting this right, you moved to LA for art school, but you were also in a metal band?
Yeah, so I moved to LA the day I graduated high school when I was 17, mainly because I had zero money saved, and my mom was like, yeah, I'll see you in a week, dude. I moved down here, never moved back, which is crazy. I had gotten into Otis, but I had deferred to go to SMC for a semester.
Oh yeah, Eco Tech.
Yeah,
I went there myself, brother.
There you go, nice. I mean, it's a solid community school, you know, and like, and I'd been here because my grandparents were from here, so I decided, go somewhere far enough but familiar, and ended up joining a metal band, and we got signed and started touring. And
no way.
Yeah, it was awesome.
When I read metal band, I just assumed it was like, you would get together in a garage and like jam out. But this is like a proper endeavor. You got signed.
Yeah.
Wow.
We got a record label, and like, I was a kid from a small town. Napa is a small town, believe it or not. Like back then, it was even more agriculturally driven and less seasonal tourist based than it is now. And I ended up joining that, and I happened to be working in restaurants because I had familiarity with it, and I had worked at them in high school, and I did really enjoy it, and I've cooked since I was a kid. Like, I'm not trying to diminish my culinary background. Like, my mom would seriously just be like, are you serious, dude? Because I like, my mom would come home, and where most kids would be playing Nintendo, I would have pulled down a cookbook, or I actually remember making her first cocktail, hilariously enough. Yeah, big time.
What did you make?
I remember there was a bottle of cooking Cinzano that was probably cooked to all hell from the top of the fridge.
Yeah.
I was a kid. I was probably like 5, maybe.
Yeah.
I remember pulling it down. I remember I took some tea bags and I made some tea and I put it in there and I squeezed some lemon in there. I remember my mom like trying to look like she was putting on her game face because she knew it was gonna be horrible. And the look of surprise, she was like, "It's actually like not half bad."
Wow.
And I'm sure it was bad, but it wasn't disgusting.
Do you remember like what approach you took to making that cocktail? Was it just like mixing a potion like you would like as a kid and playing around in the kitchen, or did you have, was there a method to the madness?
My friend Thomas and I used to have like a fake restaurant and bar, like tea house kind of thing that we built as a clubhouse. So we used to like pick a lot of fruit from the yard and do that. But I just remember kind of making what I would have made for that and then adding wine to it, but yeah, it was funny.
Worst things in the world. So, and then you mentioned touring. How long did you do that for?
Years. I mean, we like seriously toured for like probably 6 years.
Yeah.
But we were like, we did have our garage phase moving up to that, and we were playing a lot of local shows, a lot of mini tours. But yeah, it was awesome, man. That was the best time of my life. I don't know if I could do it now, but it was amazing. Yeah.
Sounds intense.
Yeah, it was great.
What was your favorite tour stop?
I mean, we definitely had some areas on tour that we had more of a fan base in, which was always really special.
Oh, cool.
Like there was like Portland for some reason, like we popped off in Portland, so that was always really fun. I have really good memories. Maybe it's just from like show memories. But like we would play in Idaho, and the kids there were bored as hell, and they showed up to throw down, and we had a great time. But yeah, man. I mean, honestly, there weren't a lot of bad tour stops. So it's just really positive memories of just like figuring out who you are as a person and figuring out being yourself and self-reliant and making stupid choices. And
sounds like a pretty good choice, honestly. Like,
it was great.
A lot of people like move to LA and start a metal band and don't get that far, so congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Was bartending something you did on the side at that point?
So I was working in restaurants. I'm a dork, so I was working in a variety of them, mainly because when I moved to LA, my initial plan, I had been working in a lighting union for a while in Napa and in restaurants, but I very quickly realized that the acting community here was not, the restaurant community here was a lot of actors.
Yeah.
So it was not a foreign concept for them getting a gig and taking off from work for 2 months and coming back. And a lot of my friends that were in my band would, have to quit their jobs at who knows where, or have a job that like paid them nothing and it came with flexibility. Yeah. So I started working in that. I actually, hilariously enough, I got a job at Rock Sugar, which was like in Century City. It was cheesecake.
Of course, yeah. My wife still like swears by that place. Is it like for like roughly Pan-Asian cuisine? Yeah,
basically what my understanding of it is that during the recession, Dave Overton, who owned the Cheesecake Factory, was basically told if they didn't keep expanding, the stocks were going to bomb because they would plateau and people would just start dumping it. So he went and was in New York and went to a Michelin star restaurant called, I believe, Spice Market, and basically was just like, hey, will you come over and open this Pan-Asian restaurant with me? And the guy was like, no. And he was like, well, I'm assuming he like flashed him some Cheesecake Factory money, a piece of paper, and he was like, I'll see you soon. Yeah, but it was cool.
What year were you there?
Oh man, I was there for a long time. I was there from, how old am I? I was there from probably 2009 to 2012, maybe?
Okay, I'm asking because it means we had some overlap at the Century City Mall. I worked at the J. Crew there.
Oh, no way.
In 2010.
Okay,
so
all right.
we probably crossed paths there.
I would guess so, yeah.
Life. I never made it to Rock Sugar on a J. Crew, hourly salary.
Sure,
so.
yeah.
But that's awesome. So that's where you started, but then you just kept going with it. You got into it. You nerded out from the bartender perspective.
Yeah. So I mean, basically, I had worked my way up there, and I was making really good money as a server. And at the time, it was really funny because I had this preconceived notion that like chefs had decided to be chefs when they were like 6 years old, and I couldn't just pivot and become a chef.
Yeah.
Now I know the error of my ways, but I loved cooking, and I wanted to be creative in my work, and I told myself I would have to go to culinary school. So I was 19 years old and working there, and I realized if I start practicing bartending now and I start picking up bar backing shifts, I couldn't pour things, but I could like learn the infrastructure of the bar. By the time I'm 21, if I start doing this, I'm going to have like 2 years of advantage on other people, and I can do a really good job at this.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And the day I turned 21, when the bartenders called out, they threw me back there, and I loved it. I remember actually realizing there was this one point where I started being like, I think I'm enjoying this more than I am playing in a band professionally, because like a lot of musicians, once the reality sets in of the lifestyle versus we're also having to alter your art in order to succeed, I realized I think I'd rather play music as an art form and not as a means to an end. And I've been bartending ever since, which I love. Yeah,
that's so like pure, dude. I would have sold out so fast. I would have like made the poppiest metal music you've ever heard.
A poppy metal sellout is not that sellout, which is funny. You're like, I can afford rent in the Midwest somewhere. I mean, of course, unless you jump the an echelon up to Slayer status or something.
No, I hear Pittsburgh is beautiful in May.
Sure.
Now, so you said in the past that spirits were actually your first true obsession, not cocktails. Now, why spirits first?
I guess that's a little bit of maybe a not quote by myself. I did get into it from the perspective of cocktails.
Okay.
But when getting into cocktails, I started finding myself more and more drawn to spirits.
Uh-huh.
And I would say in my career, spirits were always the focus when jumping into cocktails.
Mm-hmm.
It was the aspect of it, which is just like history and people. Cocktails have a lot of history too, which made it easier for me to memorize recipes because you learn about the evolution of products coming in.
Right.
And I started finding myself globbing onto that and just really obsessing with it. And then, spirits were my first love because for the longest time, it was like that was what was important to me. When I was opening my bars, cocktails were important to me, but the spirit selection was always, that was my make or break. You know what I mean? It was like, that's my ride or die is spirits. And as my career evolved and I started to connect them with actual people and seeing how hilariously corrupt the spirits market is and how much money there is and how if you were to take a popular cocktail program and actually steer the spirit selection into a positive direction, you could actually have a lot of power for change, which is unusual in our industry.
Okay, we got to talk about that corruption in the spirits industry. Now, what happened? Did you like go on a trip or something and you had like a chair company type experience? Not sure if you've seen that show on HBO.
Oh no, I have not.
I'm probably the only person who has seen it.
I'll check it out, though.
It's essentially, Tim Robinson, I think is his name. He discovers a massive conspiracy happening with this chair company, basically.
Funny.
So, did you basically have the same experience but with spirits?
I had some very strong mentors that had a strong opinion about spirits and really enforced what I already believe. Like shout out Sean Licklider over at Republique, who's now just opened Vendel.
I just went last week. It was fantastic.
It's the best, right? Yeah, he and my buddy Vay. Sean was my mentor at Republique for 3 years, and Vay was working alongside me. They're great, very like-minded, and they basically just taught me like how to navigate the spirits industry without having to play the big game with these huge brands. And but I did have, to your point, one eye-opening trip, which was there was a mezcal brand, which I will do them the justice of not sharing. Very lovely people, but they took me to Oaxaca, and I had never been to Oaxaca before. And this time I was running Gracias Madre, and I was obsessed with mezcal. Had never been. My parents did not travel a lot growing up. I would have had to forage for mushrooms to pay for. No, I'm kidding. But
it's a lot of mushrooms.
Yeah, a lot of mushrooms. But basically, I went there and I started asking a lot of questions at these palenques, which is what they call the distilleries there. And I started realizing that mezcal is not something you can really scale ethically easily. And I started realizing, because it's like, imagine going to a place that is like, you're getting brought by a brand and they're like, hey, you should sell XYZ, or we make XYZ. And you go there and everything you're tasting is not of that brand. It's something that the producer is producing and not selling through that label.
Right.
And I remember driving through this village, and a lot of the small families that were there all had their windows very dramatically open, and on their altars in their home there was these bottles being dramatically placed there, and the team was pointing them out like, look, like they love us here. And keep in mind, this is a brand that's not being produced and sold in Mexico. It's just being sold to America. So it's like,
so it was very performative.
Very performative. Yeah. And that was actually the start of my spirits career more in depth. Was I came back from that trip, I immediately booked my own trip back to Oaxaca, and I had my own experience being curated by me through organic interaction, and that was the beginning of what is now my career. Yeah. So
what did you learn on that second trip?
I mean, the smoke and mirrors, once you remove a lot of that, like no pun intended, I always think it's really funny, smoke and mirrors with mezcal, but it's you just learn about so much of how the business actually works, about what it does take to scale a brand to that size, and how it does eliminate a lot of the personal aspects of, what is in reality a person creating something for his family or his neighbors and for a party or whatever it is, and scaling it to something where you can market it to all over the United States, and I started getting in touch with people that were doing things ethically, or more importantly, like the generation closer to my age whose parents were doing that, and they were able to connect with me and talk to me about kind of how we needed to steer this to make sure that their parents had a good life, and they had a little bit more global perspective and things that we could work on together to elevate, not the production because it's already elevated, but basically preserve it and do things authentically and in ways that feel good. And those relationships drove me to basically, I was at Gracias Madre at the time, and they're talking about where they're sourcing their things in their kitchen, everything's organic, but then you look at their back bar and it was just like bad stuff, and it was like, so what I did was I eventually got to put do you know David Suro? He's what many consider to be kind of the godfather of ethical agave here in the United States, just because he's so been outspoken with our industry and really driving points home that make people understand what they are affecting. And I was up late in Morelia, which is the capital of Michoacan, with him one night. We were just drinking, and I remember I was bragging about how this tequila that I thought was ethical was our new well, and I had gotten it to this all-time low price point. And
at Gracias Madre?
Yeah, and he had this kind of single tier moment where he was like, this is how much this bottle costs at its lowest cost to get into the United States. So basically you think you're getting a deal, but that money's coming from somewhere. And he took me down a deeper layer, and I came back and I remember talking to my bosses and being like, all right, I'm in too deep. It's me or the shitty brands. And and they said, hope you know what you're doing, because it's, you're going to backpedal pretty quick if this doesn't work, because we're going to make you put it back on. And it was a great success, and that was it. So
Gracias Madre, they trusted you to do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they did it for years and years and years. I don't think they're currently purchasing that. I'm actually sure they're not. It was a bit of a bummer to me, but they did it for a long time, and they really put the wind beneath my wings in that, and it was great. So
that's so cool. So you're kind of famous and known for being so deeply tied and connected to this world of Mexican spirits, mezcal, tequila. Obviously, we're sitting in Daisy Margarita Bar, your latest project. Did these trips to Mexico, is that what sparked this connection, or did that come before?
Oh yeah, just imagine being obsessed with something from a mere consumer perspective, because that's the thing, is if you get into whiskey, etc., which I also love, I love all sorts of spirits. People think I only drink agave distillates. Imagine getting into whiskey, and there's always going to be this old dude with disposable income, and he's going to be light years ahead of you. Yeah. When I got into mezcal, there was 2 mezcals on the market, and
what was it? Yola, Vida, or Ilegal?
So it was prior to that. It was the first 2 were Don Amato, which technically was the first, and then Del Maguey had one called Chichicapa.
Okay.
And as it evolved, more and more started coming out, but I was there behind the bar and interested when the first, or when, maybe not the first, but the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. So I got to learn about them as they came out. So I got obsessed with it, and it was great, because if you go to Oaxaca, what's funny is a lot of people, there's that weird elephant in the room, which is always that I'm not Mexican, right? And the thing is that I grew up surrounded in an agricultural town by Mexican culture. I didn't know the difference between Mexican candy and American candy for the longest time, because I used to buy all my candy at this little store called La Chiquita, and my dad took me to taco trucks, and that was my life. And my high school was 85% Hispanic, which was, so it's I grew up surrounded by that culture, felt very drawn to it, but I'm not a part of it. And okay, so basically though, when I came to Oaxaca for the first time, is what a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of these families, they're producing for themselves, and they know a lot about their region, but they've never looked at it as a spirit that is something that can be shared and exported. It's something that they were diminished for years by less indigenous leaning Mexicans, etc. There's a saying in Mexico, it's the greatest enemy of a Mexican is another Mexican.
Yeah, I've heard that. Because it was sort of looked down on because tequila was viewed as the premium option. Is that right?
Yeah, that's an aspect of it. It's basically Oaxacans are more indigenous leaning, and Mexicans were colonized by the Spanish, so colorism is a big thing. So if you were more indigenous leaning, there's a reason why when you go to Oaxaca, the grandparents are all drinking Buchanan's. It's because they think that's a very European style, and it elevates them because they're not drinking the stuff that their family made. And that and the cartel likes it because it's named after a rifle. But basically you're in Oaxaca, and I brought a bottle of mezcal from one family to another family that was 10 minutes away as a drive. And this family had never met the other family. They never shared their mezcal, never done anything. So I guess what I'm pointing out is that just because you're from that culture doesn't mean that there was a culture of sharing information.
For sure.
So I entered the space during a time that I hope will never be ruled by an outsider again, which is I helped to connect the dots between these things. And ideally, now it's so popular that is instilled in the culture, and the guy who takes my job is a proud Oaxacan or whatever it is. Yeah. So
I love that. Now, let me ask you a question, which, to play devil's advocate here, did they want to share it? Do you know what I mean? Or were they just making it for their family, or were they happy to give away their mezcal to other people to try it.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's a very sharing culture. It's very traditional. I'm not going to pretend like, the more Spanish I learned, the more I discovered the romanticism of these people as well, which I think is also a little bit of an issue, is when we overly fetishize these people.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's funny because, you're like, for sure, they're like, you'll meet these people and there's like amazing people producing amazing stuff, and you're like, oh, the maestro, like amazing, and they are incredible people, and I'm not trying to diminish that, but it's also important that you understand that you're talking to a farmer and he wants to make a sale, and he's like, are these gringos going to buy something? I've been chasing them on talking about my land for 2 hours, and it's a reciprocatory relationship, and you respect them, they respect you, and but at the end of the day, like, they're not there working for free, but of course they want to share, and it's amazing, and like, it's changed now, but when I first was meeting a lot of these families, they were so honored that you were interested in what they were talking about. And when you did follow through with supporting them financially, it was big, so I mean, that's huge. Like, some of the families we've worked with, the annual household income for them, their brothers, sisters, cousins, everyone that lives on the property, was like $3,000 to $4,000 American a year.
Yeah.
And just in a year of like our well placement, we'll send like $265,000. So it's like, yeah, they like you.
I was gonna say, so it's not like you're just going there commodifying something that was meant to be like, tradition, like a tradition or something, like just a family practice. Like, they are farmers who want to sell this thing. They've just never really had a great path to do that to the United States.
Well, that's why my job is, in my opinion, is so important. I think a great example is our well mezcal, right? Yeah. So our well mezcal, when I first started working with this family, so Malbien are the importers, and they sell it to us.
Dude, they're everywhere now.
They're great. They're LA based, so you're probably exposed to them more than a lot of people, but they are doing really well. And they've scaled in a way that I think is really respectful and wonderful.
That's that label that's like hand drawn?
Yeah. It's supposed to be like the tape on the bottles of mezcal handwritten, and showing their kind of roots and where it came from, and romanticizing it in a way that isn't creating a false narrative. It's like actually just like we started buying these, hand labeling them and all that. But basically, when I started working with them, the family, we started buying Espadín agave from them, and the question that they basically said was, well, if you're going to start a mezcal brand, and this is where I'm talking about scaling eliminates some of the beauty of it, is normally they would say, cool, you're going to make 6 batches, or we're going to blend them all together, so your bar team throughout the year is mixing with a consistent flavor profile and ABV. And our response was, nope, make it exactly like you would normally make it for yourselves, and we want to buy it exactly like that, because me making consistency in my cocktail program is not your problem, it's my problem.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's like, so the whole idea is, because a lot of these farmers, and hopefully they're not all existing in this poverty line or whatever it is, and I do think that's also an issue, is when people are like, oh, you have dirt floors, so you must be poor. It's like, no, they would just rather build a second house with dirt floors other than install some American perception of how they need to live,
Right. Linoleum.
Yeah, so it's like, but at the end of the day, the idea is, and this is my program, is we don't go there and we go, we want you to make this, we want you to do that. And I've learned some lessons over the end of the years, so if you want to poke holes in that, I'm sure I made some mistakes early on in my career, but it's like, the whole idea is like, if we incentivize change in these things, especially to people that want that money and are surviving on that, they will change it, and generations go by, and then all of a sudden it's changed. Barrel-aged tequila is not something that existed for a long time.
Right.
If you went back in time and you went, 1950s, that didn't exist. It's just because Americans effectively negged them and said, like, if you want to make a elevated spirit like us, you have to buy these barrels from us and make it to this brown spirit, because that's what we enjoy. And now we can't imagine a world without it. I can't operate a tequila bar without those aged spirits. So
right.
Yeah, so power for change. Money is powerful.
Very, very interesting. So, at what point, what was the opportunity for you to go from Gracias Madre to Mirate? Was that the transition?
Yeah. So I had been actually, I'm a bit of a workaholic. I was working full time at Republique behind the bar, and they had approached me to run the program at Gracias Madre, and I basically was like, I'm learning too much, I don't want to go yet. So I was running it more from a consultant aspect, where I was literally going in there in the morning. I say consultant, it sounds like I'm never there. I was going in there at like 9 a.m., working until 4, and then I was going and working my double shift at Republique.
Wow.
So I did that for a long time, until eventually they were like, we want you to come on full time. I've been building a lot of momentum with the company, and I worked there for a long time. I stayed a lot longer, especially once they started letting me kind of get it. I was there for about 7.5 years total.
That's like, in millennial terms, that is literally an eternity.
Yeah, it's a long time, right? And I'm a perfectionist. I'm a loyalist to what I'm doing. But basically, right before the pandemic, I had been plotting opening my own bar. I actually had a meeting with a chef the day the world shut down. And
no way.
So
March 15th or something like that?
Yeah, I was like, I think really early February, early March.
Yeah.
But I remember being like, cool, we'll pick this up in a week. And I ended up, as a result, sticking with Gracias Madre through the pandemic, which I'm really grateful for, because I learned so many techniques and things that I would have only learned then. And then eventually I got them up and running. They were all good. And There's a lot of changes happening in the infrastructure of the company, and I just was like, it's time. And I was planning on opening a cocktail bar because racial tensions did get very high because of the BLM movement, and that happened a lot within the Mexican circles I was running in a lot as well. So I'd be kind of in these conversations with these very powerful people in our community, and it was always one of those things where it was like, well, they'll talk about white people in the space, and then it was like, but not you, Max, you do a really great job. And I was like, okay, and I think I do a great job, so I appreciate that, but also I was like, I don't want to be tiptoeing around this, and maybe it's time for me to step into a more open space in terms of spirits, I'm just not representing a culture so literally, and maybe it's time, and then I got a call from a very famous Mexican chef, and our previous, who's Chef Josh Gill, and Matt, who's one of our other owners, and they said, we want you. And I was like, okay, this is my last agave hurrah. And the idea was I was going to open Mirate, and after a few months I was going to open my own thing, and they were like, hopefully we can open it with you and we get along. And after like 4 months of opening my dream program and getting a lot of positive attention, they were like, do you want to be an owner? And I said, yeah. And it was my sign from the universe to stay in this space for at least a while. So
that's awesome, man.
Here.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Like if you're getting affirmations from the universe, as they say, as my mental health coach says, then why not continue? Now let's zero in on cocktails. You said something really interesting, which was when the suppliers, when the families you work with are talking about getting to the right ABV, you're like, no, it's my problem to make that work. How do you make sure that you're honoring these products when you're coming up with your cocktail program?
Well, the spirits are always the star. That's the thing. Kind of our whole thing, and I think it reaches beyond just spirits, but I think it definitely encapsulates that, which is the narrative is built around that. Yeah. So like I use a lot of technology here to create a cocktail experience, which is why we've gotten so much, or not, I'd say technique. Technology is a weirdly robotic word, but I use a lot of...
you mean like centrifuges? Or
we do, yeah. We have centrifuges, we do a lot of first carbonation, we have an ultrasonic homogenizer upstairs. It's like there's a lot of thought, but like... if you go to, say, Thunderbolt, who's some of my best, Mike, who runs it's like one of my best friends. I love those guys. And he and I have a lot of overlap in terms of technology. But when you go to his bar, the entire menu is built around showcasing these techniques, and the techniques are the star.
Right.
Mine is, you come here, you don't understand why the drinks are so good, and we use these techniques to create a modern, cutting-edge cocktail program. But what we do is we actually draw a parallel between an aspect of Mexican culture or a dish or a product, and we use it to highlight that. And that's the star. So like
interesting.
Yeah,
so what's an example?
I think one of my best examples is pulque. Pulque is the fermented sap of the agave plant. It doesn't travel very well, right? So you won't really see it here in the United States because after a couple of days, it's bunk. So so basically what I did was developed a relationship with somebody I could get the pulque from. Got pulque in house. So the idea is we've now introduced it to people in a cocktail. So I introduced it in a cocktail form. It's force carbonated. It's all this thing. We use all these modern techniques to make it this very appealing version of it. But then on my same menu, if you look, we also offer it in its traditional form. And we're able to offer it in its traditional form because I use technology to stabilize it without altering it by charging it with nitrogen so it doesn't get exposed to oxygen and slow it down. So, but at the end of the day, when you look at my menu, it's like, what's pulque? Pulque is amazing. You should try it by itself. And maybe next time you see it, you're not going to be afraid of it. You're going to have it introduced in a safe format, and you're going to try it next time you're in Mexico City on vacation. And through that, people are going to drink it, and it'll be preserved, and I'll have done my part. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So Daisy Margarita Bar is your second project. Well, no, you've been at many projects, but I mean, like, this was a follow-up to Mirate.
It's my second project I've had ownership in, and it's felt like my baby. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, you come in and it feels like you're living, breathing agave spirits. What has been sort of the mission here? How does it differ from Mirate?
It was supposed to be a little bit more truncated in terms of like approachability within the spirits. Like once we finished building Mirate, I realized that I had made something that I made a library that I'm the librarian at. And I can't build 3 libraries and expect the librarian to be there all the time, you know?
Yeah, good point.
So basically what we decided to do was take the elements of it that I think were the things that were nearest and dearest to me and find a way where I could start training up the next generation of people that would be hopefully leading the charge and taking my job. And by that, not making it this overwhelming thing I can only do, but coming up with a system of education and very literal ways to support that would basically enable Mirate to become more Mirate than Mirate currently was, and then also create an environment that was approachable, especially, we're out here in the valley, and it's no insult to the neighborhood, but like there's not as much around here that's, you operating on a level of like leaving comfort zone, I guess I would say.
I see
there's a lot of like neighborhood comfort stuff around here. There's a lot of old establishments. There's a lot of people that are creating very safe things and not trying to rock the boat, and that's okay and great. But we're Kitty Core from Anna Jack Thai, and I've seen the struggles and the wins they've gone through, and that's, I'd say, the same box and area we're operating within. And so basically what I decided to do was basically enable parts of our program to be just very focused. So the only mezcals we serve here, I don't know if you can actually see them, they're on tap from these glass demijohns on here.
That's what's in there?
Yeah.
I thought those were like terrariums with plants in them.
Yeah, no, that's all filled with mezcal on tap. Those are all sourced just for here, and we're really excited about it. So basically, if you get a mezcal here, it's super special because you can only get it here, and you can only get it at Mirate. Wow. And that's how we focused our mezcal program. So all the team here knows every little fact, and there's not this guessing game where you don't need a librarian. It is like, hey, we had to learn 12 of these, but there are 12 special things that you can only get here.
Yeah.
And it makes people really engage with it, which is what we did. And I wanted to use this to basically enable some buying practices, things at Mirate. So now our well program is completely custom. So custom mezcal, custom tequila, custom gin, hopefully soon custom vodka, custom rums. So basically you're getting the best, most personal bits from Mirate, and you're getting that only. And then of course like a nice selection of tequilas, because I think that's kind of the entry point, is teaching consumers that have been drinking tequila maybe isn't the best and is a little problematic in my opinion, whether it be through ownership or production practices, showing them the best version of that, and then taking their hand once you get their trust and showing them what I love, which was mezcal.
That's so cool. Yeah, they're really smart actually, because it does feel like the Valley is a place where you want to really make sure you're getting repeat customers, right? You want to become like that neighborhood bar. So I think it's a really smart move to make it approachable.
So that's why we got a $6 beer on the menu, man. If you walk in.
Oh yeah, what's the beer?
Right now it is Loba. It's a Loba Neo Lager from Guadalajara. It's called a Neo Lager because they reimagined the lager, which was German influenced, and they used it. They created it, but if it was created in Mexico using only native hops, which are called Medusa hops and locally produced things, which is great. But the whole idea is like, I knew it was going to happen. People are going to walk in here. The regulars from this old place, which is called the Sherman, are going to walk in. And they're going to go, oh man, I want to hate it here. And they're going to walk in and be like, I can't even get a beer here. I'm like, actually, you can. Here you go. Yeah, there you go.
It's only $6.
Yeah, exactly.
That is a steal in today's Los Angeles. Now, you mentioned it, but you got some. You've been getting quite a bit of acclaim for both Mirate and Daisy. I mean, you were obviously Star Chefs 2024.
Oh, yeah. You did your research.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing. That's literally my one job is to do the research. But obviously, most recently too, you were named a semifinalist for the James Beard Awards.
I'm very proud of it. Thank you, man. Yeah, very proud of my team.
How does that feel for you? Obviously, you are so passionate about this. You've done so much work, but now getting named in those kinds of conversations, how does that feel for you?
It feels great. I mean, when we first opened Mirate, I gave this whole speech to my team because I was a well-known bartender at that time. So I had a bunch of rock stars join on, and I told them, hey guys, if you think you're going to come on here because we're going to win accolades, you're wrong. We're not playing the game. We're not doing all these things. And I was very glad to be proved wrong, because we don't play any of those games, and we did get acclaimed that, which to me was amazing, because it kind of was I felt like almost like a conspiracy theorist being like, oh, we're not going to win these because of this, because you have to buy this and you have to buy this to win these awards. And I was proved wrong, which was amazing, especially because for me that was an opportunity to prove to other people that look at me that you don't have to do those things.
Yeah.
And that was incredible. And we started getting a lot of people coming in focused on what we wanted to provide. And Mirate is gorgeous, but once a month there would be welcome to this hidden hideaway in Los Feliz. There's a tree in it. And we would,
social media?
Yeah. And people would come in not understanding what we do, but just wanting to take selfies. And having a award like that means people come in and they already understand that this is something special, and it brings validity to it. Also a lot of scrutiny, which we have to learn to navigate when we're doing a good job. But it's been great, man. And I'm very proud. We climbed up after year one, which put us on the radar. We did the biggest jump, I don't know in history of that, but that year we got the Nika Highest Climber Award. We went from number 46 to 12 and best bar in the Western United States.
Yeah, that's world's 50 best bars.
North America, yeah. And then we got on the world's 50 best this year, which I'm really excited about. We'll extended list. It's the top 100. That's world.
It counts.
I'm pumped on it.
Yeah.
And the James Beard thing was amazing for me, because that's just there's such different pools of people, and there's such different levels of respect. And James Beard, is super different, and the different people are nominating for different reasons, and it feels great, man. And my team is so proud. And at the end of the day, as proud as I am for the families I'm supporting, I'm also a huge advocate for my city, and like I think we deserve so much more inspiration and recognition, and helping train people up and having them realize that they can do these cool things in their city, and having these bartenders that are just show up as ready to rock it out and they want to open their own bar, and we're inspiring them and giving them that power. Like, it's amazing to me. So keep the accolades coming, because it's going to put butts in seats for my team, and it's going to keep inspiring our city to keep doing that. And I'm going to be just as happy for my homies here in LA if they win, and I hope they do. And that's that. It's like, I'm just proud of my city, and I'm proud of the people we get to support. So it's,
the homies
great.
in LA is it the team of Cato? They're also.
Oh, I love Cato.
Yeah.
Those guys Austin's crushing it on the beverage side. They are so good at their wine and food program that, like, if Austin was popped anywhere else, he would be getting every bar award ever. It's just because everything there is just so incredible that it's just like,
it's hard to be the headline.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and we have Chef Allen now, so I'm hoping he steals some headline for me, because he's an incredible chef. Yeah. And our previous chef was amazing as well, but it was a different point and different goal. But yeah, Vendel, they could freaking crush it.
Are they also nominated?
They're not. I guess I'm just saying is, like, there's a lot of people in our city that I think
have potential. Thunderbolt was semifinalist last
year. Oh, absolutely, yeah. And they've been in 50 Best. They paved the way for us there, and I'm hoping other people.
That's awesome.
Now that the shine is on our city, I think people are going to come here for tourism within that space, and they're going to start finding more and more people rising to that occasion.
Well, I was going to ask you that, actually, because I feel like when, I am not a cocktail head or a mixology head, if we want to use the dreaded M word.
Sure.
But, like, I have always gotten the sense that, like, cities like New York, Chicago, San Francisco even, they get more of the shine when it comes to, like, cocktail accolades. Globally, London, obviously, places like that. But LA's not really been in that conversation over the last, like, 10 years, let's say. But I feel like now it is, and it's really cool because it feels like, I don't know if you feel the same, but it's not about LA playing the game that needs to be played more broadly, but it's just, we're doing our own thing. Nothing is more our own thing than what you're doing. And now we're being, like, recognized for it, and that's really fucking cool.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's I understand why LA's shine wasn't on that for a long time, because we're so different.
Yeah.
Like Vendel, as a perfect example, like Sean, I always think has been one of the best beverage people in the city. And you look at him, you look at freaking Austin and Cato, you look at me, we all run spots that, like, by default could be considered by many or focused on mainly food. But it's because LA is so spread out that you don't take a $40 Uber to go somewhere and hang out there for an hour and go somewhere else. So it's like, so I've got a lot of scrutiny that we're like, Mirate is not a bar, but I'm like, okay, so here you go. So check it out. Like, the whole downstairs, we reserve primarily for walk-ins in the entire bar area. We throw bar events like a bar. We can treat it like a bar. So to me, it's a bar. It's a bar that has a restaurant attached to it, but we can treat it like both. You can walk in, you can have a bar experience. And that's how a lot of LA is starting to kind of buck up into that, because people kind of need to look at it a little differently and see the landscape of which they exist in, which is not the same as New York, which has so much more walkability and all that. And yeah, we're playing a different game, man. So,
Bro, if I can get drunk there, it's a bar.
Yeah.
That is the rule. And I have gone drunk in Mirate. I've always really enjoyed it. And yeah, man, it's just congrats. It's really cool to
get drunk
meet
here
you.
soon.
I know that is high on the list. Now that I've been here, I've scoped it out. My wife is a cocktail maniac, so we're going to definitely be coming back here. But yeah, really cool to put a face to the name, because your name is everywhere. I literally just spoke with Ryan and John for this podcast at Cato, and Ryan himself was like, yeah, you love what Max is doing over at Mirate when he was talking about his favorite restaurants. So congratulations. Now, the closing question we ask all our guests is, what are 3 LA restaurants, or in your case, even bars, that you're enjoying right now?
Where I go the most frequently, that is tough. Vendel, I already shouted them out, but they deserve all the love in the world. The burger's great. Burger's incredible. You can go there for a meal. It's great. It's an English muffin burger, kiss ass. Really, really good. Those guys deserve all the support in the world, so go support them, please. Cato is definitely my special occasion spot. I go there all the time for a meal, and I would consider Vendel a restaurant as well in terms of being able to get food offerings, which is great. If I'm going for a meal most frequently, and you'll probably appreciate this knowing your proximity, but Dunsmore.
Hell yeah.
I love that spot so much. And it's great because it's right down the street from my honorable mention, which would be Capri Club. My friend Pete's crushing it over there, and I know you can definitely get a meal there too. But that Bang Bang is one of my favorites. Like going to get an aperitivo or Steve at Capri Club, and then going to Dunsmore and coming back. Chef told me he won't start offering the stew at the bar, which I've been trying to go for a while, but it's I love it there. It's great.
It's those are amazing shouts and very LA Food Pod shouts, actually, restaurants that we talk about all the time.
Oh, great.
So you're right in the family.
Should I have gone underdog?
No. You can say whatever you want. Max, this has been an absolute pleasure. We'll come visit you here at Daisy Margarita Bar. Listeners, you should all do the same, and hopefully we'll get to catch up soon.
Amazing. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the LA Food Podcast. Thanks to our guests for making the time for us. As always, we'll be back with another epic episode next week, but if you're looking for me in the meantime, you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Thread, YouTube, even our website at the LA Countdown. You can also find us on Instagram at It's Acquired Taste and at acquiredtastemedia.com. If you like what you heard here today, dear listener, please consider going to wherever you listen to podcasts and leave us a 5-star rating or review, even a follow. That really helps us. It means the world to us. Thank you so much in advance.